As a retired carpenter, I had always taken pride in my craft, in the beauty and the precision of the things I built with my own two hands. But when my own daughter and grandson started calling me useless, started treating me like a burden and a nuisance, I knew that I had to take a stand. Using the skills and the knowledge that had been my livelihood for so many years, I set out to reclaim my dignity and my sense of self-worth. I sold the home that I had built with my own blood, sweat, and tears, and I started fresh, leaving them stunned and empty-handed. This is the story of how I fought back against the ingratitude and the disrespect of my own flesh and blood, and how I proved that a man's worth is not measured by the opinions of others, but by the strength and the resilience of his own spirit. Before we continue, please subscribe to the channel and let us know where you're listening from in the comments. The sun was just starting to peek through the curtains of my bedroom when I heard the sound of voices drifting up from the kitchen. I glanced at the clock on my nightstand, frowning slightly. 6:30 a.m. on a Saturday morning. Who could be up at this hour, having a conversation in my own house? I pushed myself out of bed, my joints creaking in protest. At 69 years old, I was no spring chicken anymore, but I refused to let age slow me down. I had always prided myself on my strength and my stamina, on my ability to work harder and longer than men half my age. I pulled on my robe and slippers and made my way downstairs, the scent of coffee wafting up to greet me. As I approached the kitchen, the voices grew clearer, sharper. It was my daughter, Karen, and her son, Michael. And from the sound of it, they were having a heated discussion. "I'm telling you, Mom, we need to do something about Grandpa," Michael was saying, his voice tight with frustration. "He's becoming a liability, a burden on all of us." I felt a chill run down my spine, a sense of dread settling in the pit of my stomach. They were talking about me, about the man who had raised them and provided for them, who had given them everything he had. "I know, Michael," Karen replied, her tone weary. "But what can we do? He's my father. I can't just kick him out on the street." Michael scoffed, and I could picture the look of contempt on his face. "Why not? It's not like he's contributing anything around here. He just sits in his recliner all day, watching TV and complaining about his aches and pains." I felt a flicker of anger at his words, but I pushed it down, forcing myself to listen, to hear the truth of what they were saying. "He's old, Michael," Karen said, her voice softening slightly. "He's earned the right to rest and relax." "Rest and relax?" Michael snorted. "More like waste away and deteriorate. Face it, Mom, he's useless. He can't even change a light bulb without asking for help." I felt like I had been punched in the gut, the air leaving my lungs in a rush. Useless. The word echoed in my mind, a cruel and cutting blow. I had spent my entire life working with my hands, building and creating, providing for my family with the sweat of my brow. And now, my own grandson, the boy I had bounced on my knee and taught to swing a hammer, was calling me useless. I stepped into the kitchen, my eyes blazing with hurt and anger. Karen and Michael looked up, their faces registering surprise and guilt. "Dad," Karen said, her voice trembling slightly. "We didn't know you were awake. We were just—" "I heard everything," I said, my voice steady despite the pain in my chest. "Every word of your little conversation, your little assessment of my worth." Michael had the decency to look ashamed, his eyes dropping to the floor. But Karen just stared at me, her expression a mix of defiance and pity. "Dad, we didn't mean anything by it," she said, her tone placating. "We're just worried about you, about your health and your well-being." I barked out a harsh laugh, shaking my head in disbelief. "Worried about me? Is that what you call it, Karen? Plotting behind my back to get rid of me? To ship me off to some nursing home so you don't have to deal with me anymore?" She flinched at my words, her face flushing with anger. "That's not what we were saying, Dad. You're twisting our words, making it sound worse than it is." I stared at her, my heart breaking in my chest. How had it come to this? To my own daughter treating me like a burden, like a problem to be solved. "No, Karen," I said, my voice quiet but firm. "I'm not twisting anything. I heard what you said, loud and clear. You think I'm useless, a liability. You want me out of your hair, out of your life. I turned to Michael, my eyes locking with his. And you, Michael. I taught you everything you know about carpentry, about working with your hands. I gave you your first tool belt, your first set of chisels. And this is how you repay me? By calling me useless? By plotting to get rid of me? He looked away, his face burning with shame. But I wasn't finished, not by a long shot. Well, let me tell you something. Both of you, I said, my voice rising with each word. I am not useless. I am not a burden. I am Samuel Price, and I have built more with these two hands than either of you will ever accomplish in your entire lives. I turned on my heel and walked out of the kitchen, leaving them staring after me in stunned silence. I climbed the stairs to my bedroom, my heart pounding with anger and determination. They thought I was useless, did they? They thought I was a burden, a problem to be solved? Well, I would show them. I would show them exactly what this old carpenter was capable of. I pulled out my old tool belt from the closet, the leather soft and supple from years of use. I ran my fingers over the worn metal of the hammer, the chisels, the saws. These were the tools of my trade, the instruments of my craft, and I would use them to reclaim my dignity, to prove my worth. I had built this house with my own two hands, had poured my heart and soul into every beam and every board. And if my own family didn't want me here, then I would sell it, would start fresh somewhere new, somewhere where I was valued and respected. I smiled grimly to myself, a plan already forming in my mind. I would show them, would leave them stunned and empty-handed. And I would do it with the same skill and precision that had always been my hallmark, my badge of honor. For I was Samuel Price, a carpenter, a craftsman, a man who had never backed down from a challenge in his life. And I sure as hell wasn't about to start now. The next few days passed in a blur of activity and purpose. I threw myself into the task of preparing my house for sale, of making all the necessary repairs and improvements that would fetch top dollar on the market. I worked from sunup to sundown, my hands moving with a skill and a surety that belied my advancing years. I replaced old floorboards and repaired sagging door frames, sanded down rough edges and applied fresh coats of paint. I poured all of my anger and my hurt into the work, channeling my emotions into something tangible, something real. And as I worked, I couldn't help but reflect on the life I had built, on the family I had raised within these walls. I remembered the day Karen was born, the way her tiny hand had curled around my finger as I held her for the first time. I remembered teaching Michael to ride his first bike in the driveway, the pride in his eyes as he pedaled away from me on wobbly legs. But I also remembered the sacrifices I had made, the long hours and the back-breaking labor that had gone into providing for them, into giving them the best life I could. I had worked my fingers to the bone to put food on the table and a roof over their heads, had missed birthdays and anniversaries and school plays because there was always another job to be done, another project to be completed. And now, it seemed, all of that meant nothing to them. All of my hard work and dedication, all of my love and my care, had been reduced to a single, cutting word: useless. Well, I would show them just how useless I was. I would sell this house out from under them, would leave them scrambling to find a new place to live. And I would do it with my head held high, with the knowledge that I was still a man of worth and value, no matter what they might think. As the days turned into weeks, I could feel the house coming back to life under my hands, could see the beauty and the craftsmanship that I had poured into every inch of it. The walls gleamed with fresh paint, the floors shone with a rich, warm luster. And as I stepped back to admire my handiwork, I felt a sense of pride and accomplishment that I hadn't known in years. But even as I savored my triumph, even as I imagined the look on Karen and Michael's faces when they realized what I had done, I couldn't shake the sense of sadness that clung to my heart, the feeling that something precious had been lost, something that could never be regained. I had always believed that family was everything, that the bonds of blood and love were stronger than any force on earth. But now, it seemed, those bonds had been broken, shattered by the weight of their own selfishness and ingratitude. And yet, even in the midst of my pain and my anger, I couldn't bring myself to hate them, couldn't find it in my heart to wish them ill. They were still my flesh and blood, still the people I had loved and cherished for so many years, and a part of me still hoped that someday, somehow, we might find a way to heal all the wounds that had been inflicted, to rebuild the trust and the love that had once been the foundation of our lives. But for now, I had to focus on myself, on my own needs, and my own future. I had to find a way to start fresh, to build a new life for myself that wasn't dependent on the opinions or the expectations of others. And so, with a heavy heart and a sense of grim determination, I put the finishing touches on my house, on the home that had been my pride and my joy for so many years. I polished the brass fixtures until they gleamed, fluffed the pillows on the sofa just so. And then, with a final lingering look around, I picked up the phone and dialed the number of the real estate agent I had been in touch with. "Mr. Price," she said, her voice warm and professional. "I've been expecting your call. Are you ready to list your property?" I took a deep breath, my hand trembling slightly as I gripped the receiver. "Yes," I said, my voice steady and clear. "I'm ready. Let's do this." And with those words, I set in motion a chain of events that would change my life forever, that would take me down a path I had never expected to travel. But I was ready for it, ready to face whatever challenges and obstacles lay ahead. For I was Samuel Price, a carpenter, a craftsman, a man who had built his life with his own two hands. And I would not let anyone, not even my own family, tear down what I had worked so hard to create. With a sense of purpose and determination, I hung up the phone and stepped out into the world, ready to face my future with my head held high and my spirit unbroken. The battle had just begun, and I would not rest until I had emerged victorious, until I had reclaimed my dignity and my sense of self-worth. And heaven help anyone who tried to stand in my way. The day of the open house dawned bright and clear, the sun streaming through the windows of my newly renovated home. I stood in the living room, my hands clasped behind my back, surveying the fruits of my labor with a sense of pride and satisfaction. The hardwood floors gleamed with a rich honey hue, the result of hours of sanding and staining. The walls were a soft, neutral shade, the perfect backdrop for the tasteful artwork and decor that I had carefully selected. And the kitchen, the heart of the home, was a masterpiece of craftsmanship, with custom cabinets and granite countertops that would make any chef green with envy. I had poured my heart and soul into this house, had given it everything I had. And now, it was time to let it go, to move on to the next chapter of my life. As the first potential buyers began to arrive, I felt a flutter of nerves in my stomach, a sense of uncertainty and trepidation. What if they didn't like what I had done? What if they couldn't see the beauty and the value that I had created? But as I watched them move through the house, their eyes widening with appreciation and admiration, I felt a sense of vindication, a feeling of triumph that I hadn't known in years. They saw what I had seen all along, saw the skill and the artistry that had gone into every detail, every finish. And as the offers began to roll in, each one higher than the last, I felt a rush of excitement, a sense of possibility that I hadn't felt in longer than I could remember. I was doing it, was taking control of my own destiny, was building a new life for myself on my own terms. But even as I reveled in my success, even as I imagined the look on Karen and Michael's faces when they realized what I had done, I couldn't shake the sense of sadness that clung to my heart, the feeling that something precious had been lost, something that could never be regained. I had always believed that family was everything, that the bonds of blood and love were stronger than any force on earth. But now, it seemed, those bonds had been broken, shattered by the weight of their own selfishness and ingratitude. And yet, even in the midst of my pain and my anger, I couldn't bring myself to hate them, couldn't find it in my heart to wish them ill. They were still my flesh and blood, still the people I had loved and cherished for so many years. And a part of me still hoped that someday, somehow, we might find a way to heal all the wounds that had been inflicted, to rebuild the trust and the love that had once been the foundation of our lives. But for now, I had to focus on myself, on my own needs and my own future. I had to find a way to start fresh, to build a new life for myself that wasn't dependent on the opinions or the expectations of others. And so, with a heavy heart and a sense of grim determination, I accepted the highest offer on the house, the one that would give me the freedom and the resources to start anew. I signed the papers with a steady hand, my signature a symbol of my resolve and my strength. And then, with a final lingering look around the home that had been my sanctuary and my prison for so many years, I picked up my bags and walked out the door, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. I didn't know where I was going, didn't have a plan or a destination in mind. But I knew that I had to keep moving, had to keep pushing forward, no matter how hard or how painful the journey might be. For I was Samuel Price, a carpenter, a craftsman, a man who had built his life with his own two hands. And I would not let anyone, not even my own family, tear down what I had worked so hard to create. As I drove away from the house that had been my home for so many years, I felt a sense of loss and grief wash over me, a feeling of emptiness and loneliness that I hadn't known in longer than I could remember. But I also felt a sense of hope and possibility, a feeling of excitement and adventure that I hadn't felt in years. I was starting over, was building a new life for myself from the ground up. And while I didn't know what the future might hold, I knew that I had the skills and the strength to face whatever challenges lay ahead, to emerge stronger and wiser and more alive than ever before. And so, with the sun on my face and the wind in my hair, I drove on, ready to embrace whatever lay ahead with open arms and an open heart. For the best was yet to come, and the road ahead was full of promise and possibility. And I could not wait to see where it would lead me next. The next few months passed in a blur of activity and adventure, a whirlwind of new experiences and fresh starts. I threw myself into the task of building a new life for myself, of exploring new places and trying new things. I traveled the country, visiting cities and towns I had always dreamed of seeing. I hiked through national parks and forests, marveling at the beauty and the majesty of the natural world. I took classes and workshops, learning new skills and honing old ones, discovering passions and talents that I had never known I possessed. And through it all, I felt a sense of freedom and joy that I had never known before, a deep and abiding satisfaction in the knowledge that I was living life on my own terms, that I was pursuing my own dreams and desires, rather than the expectations of others. But even as I reveled in my newfound independence, even as I savored the sweetness of my hard-won victory, I couldn't shake the sense of loneliness that sometimes crept up on me in the quiet moments, the feeling that something was still missing from my life. I had my freedom, of course, and the satisfaction that came with knowing that I had fought for it, that I had earned it through my own blood, sweat, and tears. But I also knew that freedom alone was not enough, that there was more to life than just the pursuit of my own happiness and fulfillment. And so, with a sense of purpose and determination, I began to reach out to others, to seek out new connections and relationships that could fill the void that my family had left behind. I volunteered at local charities and community centers, using my skills as a carpenter to help those in need, to make a difference in the lives of others. I made new friends and acquaintances, people who shared my passions and my values, who understood the importance of hard work and self-reliance. And slowly but surely, I began to build a new network of support and companionship, a web of relationships that sustained me and gave my life meaning and purpose. But even as I embraced this new chapter of my life, even as I felt the warmth and the joy of making a difference in the world, I couldn't shake the sense of unfinished business that lingered in the back of my mind, the feeling that there was still one more thing that I needed to do, one more wrong that I needed to right. And that thing, I knew, was my relationship with Karen and Michael. It had been months since I had last seen them, months since I had walked out of their lives and never looked back. And in all that time, I had never once reached out to them, had never once tried to mend the rift that had grown between us. I had told myself that it was for the best, that they had made their choices, and that I had to respect them, even if I couldn't understand or condone them. But deep down, I knew that it was more than that my own pride and stubbornness had played a role in keeping us apart. And now, as I looked back on my life, on the long and winding road that had brought me to this moment, I knew that I couldn't let things end like this, that I couldn't let my own flesh and blood become strangers to me, ghosts from my past that haunted my every waking moment. And so, with a heavy heart and a sense of trepidation, I picked up the phone and dialed Karen's number, my fingers trembling as I punched in the digits that I had once known by heart. The call went to voicemail, and for a moment, I almost lost my nerve, almost hung up the phone and walked away from the whole thing. But something stopped me, some deep and primal instinct that told me that this was a chance that I couldn't let slip away, a moment that would define the rest of my life. And so, taking a deep breath and steeling myself for whatever lay ahead, I left a message, my voice shaking with emotion as I spoke the words that I had been holding back for so long. "Karen," I said, my throat tight with tears. "It's your father. I know it's been a long time, and I know that things between us have been difficult, to say the least. But I want you to know that I'm sorry, that I never meant for things to turn out the way they did. I know that I can't change the past, can't undo the hurt and the anger that we've both carried with us for so long. But I want to try, Karen. I want to find a way to move forward, to build a new relationship based on love and understanding, not on bitterness and resentment. And so, if you're willing, if you're ready to take that first step, I'd like to meet with you and Michael, to talk things through and see if we can't find a way to heal all the wounds that have divided us for so long. I know it won't be easy, but I also know that it's worth it, that the love and the bond that we once shared is too precious to let slip away. Please, Karen, give me a chance to make things right, to be the father that you always deserved. I promise that I won't let you down, that I'll do everything in my power to earn your trust and your forgiveness. I love you, sweetheart. And no matter what happens, no matter where this road takes us, I want you to know that I always will. That's a promise that I'll keep, now and forever." And with that, I hung up the phone, my heart pounding with a mixture of fear and hope, of uncertainty and determination. I knew that the road ahead would be long and difficult, that there would be obstacles and challenges at every turn. But I also knew that it was a road that I had to travel, a journey that I had to take if I ever hoped to find the peace and the healing that I so desperately craved. And so, with a deep breath and a sense of purpose, I stepped out into the world, ready to face whatever lay ahead with courage and grace, with the strength and the wisdom of a man who had lived a life of purpose and meaning. For I was Samuel Price, a carpenter, a father, a man who had learned to find the beauty and the hope in even the darkest of times. And as long as I had the love and the support of those who mattered most, as long as I had the fire and the passion that had always driven me forward, I knew that there was nothing I could not overcome, no dream that I could not make real. And that, in the end, was the greatest gift of all, the most precious treasure that any man could ever hope to claim. The days and weeks that followed were a blur of activity and emotion, a whirlwind of hope and fear, of uncertainty and possibility. I threw myself into the task of reconnecting with Karen and Michael, of building a new relationship based on love and understanding, rather than on anger and resentment. It wasn't easy, and there were times when I felt like giving up, when the weight of the past seemed too heavy to bear. But I refused to let myself be defeated, refused to let the mistakes and the misunderstandings of yesterday define the course of tomorrow. And so, day after day, I reached out to them, sending them messages and emails, leaving voicemails and texts. I told them about my life, about the changes I had made and the lessons I had learned. I shared my hopes and my dreams, my fears and my regrets, opening myself up to them in a way that I had never done before. At first, there was only silence, a cold and unresponsive void that seemed to stretch out into eternity. But I refused to give up, refused to let myself be discouraged by the lack of response. I knew that Karen and Michael were hurting, that they had their own demons to battle and their own wounds to heal all. And so I kept reaching out, kept extending the hand of friendship and forgiveness, even when it seemed like all hope was lost. And then, one day, a miracle happened. It was a warm and sunny afternoon, the kind of day that seemed to promise new beginnings and fresh starts. I was sitting on the porch of my new home, a cozy little cottage nestled in the heart of the mountains, when I heard the sound of tires crunching on the gravel driveway. I stood up, my heart pounding with anticipation, and made my way down the steps. And there, climbing out of a beat-up old car, were Karen and Michael, their faces etched with a mixture of apprehension and hope. For a moment, we just stood there, staring at each other in silence, none of us quite sure what to say or do. But then, slowly, tentatively, I opened my arms, feeling the warmth and the weight of their bodies as they stepped into my embrace. And in that moment, as I held my daughter and my grandson close, feeling the beat of their hearts against my chest, I knew that everything was going to be all right, that the wounds of the past could be held and the bonds of love could be restored. We talked for hours that day, sitting on the porch and sipping iced tea, sharing stories and memories, laughter and tears. We spoke of the hurt and the anger that had driven us apart, of the misunderstandings and the mistakes that had torn at the fabric of our family. And as we talked, as we opened our hearts to one another and let the truth flow freely between us, I could feel the walls beginning to crumble, the barriers of resentment and bitterness giving way to a new sense of connection and understanding. It wasn't perfect, of course, and there were still wounds that needed time to heal all, still scars that would never fully fade. But it was a start, a beginning, a chance to build something new and beautiful from the ashes of the past. In the days and weeks that followed, Karen and Michael became a regular presence in my life, visiting me on weekends and holidays, sharing meals and stories and laughter. We worked together on projects around the house, using our skills as carpenters to build and create, to bring new life and new beauty to the world around us. And as we worked, as we poured our hearts and our souls into the task at hand, I could feel the bonds between us growing stronger, the love and the trust that had once been shattered slowly beginning to mend. There were still moments of tension and difficulty, of course, times when the old wounds would threaten to reopen and the ghosts of the past would rear their ugly heads. But we faced them together, as a family, with the strength and the courage that can only come from a shared history and a shared love. And through it all, I could feel myself growing and changing in ways that I had never thought possible, discovering new depths of compassion and understanding, new reserves of patience and forgiveness. I learned to see the world through their eyes, to understand the struggles and the challenges that they had faced, the demons that they had battled, and the obstacles that they had overcome. And I learned to see my own life in a new light, to understand the choices and the sacrifices that I had made, the triumphs and the failures that had shaped me into the man I was today. And as the years passed and the seasons changed, I found myself settling into a new rhythm of life, a new way of being that was both familiar and strange all at once. I was still the same man I had always been, still driven by the same passions and values that had always guided me. But I was also different, changed in ways that I could never have imagined, transformed by the love and the forgiveness that had brought me back to my family, back to the people that had always been the center of my world. And now, as I sit here on the porch of my little cottage, surrounded by the beauty and the peace of the mountains, I can't help but feel a sense of gratitude and wonder wash over me, a deep and abiding joy that fills every corner of my being. I have been given a second chance, a new beginning, a chance to build something beautiful and lasting out of the ashes of the past. And I know that, no matter what challenges may lie ahead, no matter what storms we may have to weather, we will face them together, as a family, as a testament to the power of love and forgiveness to heal all even the deepest wounds. For I am Samuel Price, a carpenter, a father, a man who has learned the hard way that the greatest legacy we can leave behind is the love and the compassion that we show to others, the difference that we make in the world around us. And as long as I have breath in my body and fire in my soul, I will continue to strive and to serve, to give back to the world that has given me so much, to be the best version of myself that I can be. For that is the true meaning of success, the only wealth that really matters in the end. And it is a wealth that I intend to share with all those whose lives I touch, whose hearts I have the privilege to know. And so, with a smile on my face and a song in my heart, I stand up and make my way back into the house, ready to embrace whatever the future may bring, to face the challenges and the joys of life with an open heart and a willing spirit. For I know that I am not alone, that I have the love and the support of those who matter most, the family and the friends who have always been my rock and my anchor. And I know that together, there is nothing we cannot achieve, no dream that we cannot make real, no mountain that we cannot climb. For we are the Prices, a family forged in the fire of adversity and tempered by the power of love. And as long as we hold fast to the values that have always guided us, as long as we continue to strive and to serve and to give of ourselves freely and without reservation, then I know that the best is yet to come, that the future is ours to shape and to mold as we see fit, and that, in the end, is the greatest adventure of all, the most precious gift that any man could ever hope to give or to receive. So let us go forth with courage and with faith, with the strength and the wisdom of those who have gone before us. For the road ahead is long and the journey is uncertain, but the destination is worth every step, every sacrifice, every moment of pain and struggle and triumph. And together, hand in hand, heart to heart, we will find our way home, to the place where we truly belong, the place where love and laughter and joy reign supreme, now and forevermore. It has been 5 years since that fateful day when Karen and Michael first arrived on my doorstep. 5 years since the journey of healing and forgiveness first began. And in that time, so much has changed, so much has grown and flourished and come to fruition. Our family has been restored and renewed, the bonds of love and trust that were once broken now stronger than ever before. We have learned to communicate and to understand one another, to see the world through each other's eyes, and to find the common ground that unites us all. Karen has become a true partner and friend, a source of strength and support in even the darkest of times. She has grown and changed in ways that fill my heart with pride and joy, becoming a woman of courage and compassion, of wisdom and grace. And Michael, oh my precious grandson, he has blossomed into a young man of character and integrity, a shining example of all that is good and right in this world. He has found his calling as a teacher, using his gifts and his talents to inspire and uplift the next generation, to make a difference in the lives of those who need it most. Together, we have built a life of purpose and meaning, a life filled with love and laughter, with joy and adventure and all the things that make life worth living. We have faced challenges and overcome obstacles, have weathered storms, and emerged stronger and wiser for the journey. And through it all, we have held fast to the values and the principles that have always been our guiding light, the unshakable faith in the power of love and forgiveness to heal all, even the deepest wounds, and bridge even the widest divides. And now, as I look back on my life, on the long and winding road that has brought me to this moment, I can't help but feel a sense of gratitude and wonder for the incredible journey that has been my life. I have known great sorrow and great joy, have faced trials and triumphs that have tested me to my very limits. But through it all, I have remained true to myself, have held fast to the beliefs and the ideals that have always been the very core of who I am. And I know that no matter what the future may bring, no matter what challenges or adventures may lie ahead, I will always have this moment, this perfect shining example of what it means to be alive, to be human, to be part of something greater than myself. For I am Samuel Price, a carpenter, a father, a man who has lived a life of purpose and meaning, a life that has touched and transformed countless others along the way. And as long as my story is remembered, as long as my legacy endures, then I know that my spirit will live on, that the love and the wisdom that I have shared will continue to ripple out into the world, changing lives and healing hearts for generations to come. And that, in the end, is the greatest gift of all, the most precious treasure that any man could ever hope to leave behind. So let us go forth with joy and with hope, with the courage and the strength of those who have weathered life's storms and emerged stronger and wiser for the journey. Let us cherish the moments of grace and beauty that surround us, the love and the laughter that fill our days with meaning and purpose. And let us never, ever forget the power of forgiveness and compassion, the incredible capacity of the human heart to heal all and to grow, no matter how great the wound or how deep the pain. For that is the true magic of this life that we have been given, and it is a magic that lives within each and every one of us, waiting only for the chance to be unleashed upon the world. So let us go forth with love and with light, with the wisdom and the grace of those who have gone before us. For the best is yet to come, and the road ahead is full of promise and possibility, a journey that we are all called to take, a destiny that we are all meant to fulfill. And together, hand in hand, heart to heart, we will find our way home, to the place where we truly belong, the place where love and laughter and joy reign supreme, now and forevermore. Thank you, my friends, for being a part of my story, for sharing in the laughter and the tears, the triumphs and the trials of this incredible adventure that we call life. And may the love and the light that guide us never fade. May the hope and the joy that fill our hearts never cease to shine. For we are all one family, one community, one human race, bound together by the unbreakable bonds of love and compassion, of kindness and grace. And as long as we hold fast to that truth, as long as we continue to strive and to serve and to give of ourselves freely and without reservation, then I know that there is nothing we cannot achieve, no dream that we cannot make real, no life that we cannot touch and transform. For the best is yet to come, and the future is ours to shape, a world of endless possibility and boundless hope, a legacy of love and light that will endure long after we are gone. So let us go forth with courage and with faith, with the strength and the wisdom of those who have gone before us. For the road ahead is long and the journey is uncertain, but the destination is worth every step, every sacrifice, every moment of pain and struggle and triumph. And together, hand in hand, heart to heart, we will find our way home, to the place where we truly belong, the place where love and laughter and joy reign supreme, now and forevermore. Thank you, and may the blessings of life be with you always, in all that you do and in all that you are. If you found Samuel's story of redemption, forgiveness, and the unbreakable bonds of family inspiring, please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more uplifting tales of everyday heroes making a difference in the world. And don't forget to share your own experiences and reflections in the comments below. We all have a story to tell, a lesson to learn, a legacy to leave. By sharing our journeys and our truths, we inspire and uplift each other, and we create a world that is a little broader, a little more beautiful, a little more full of hope and possibility. So keep shining your light, my friends. Keep loving and forgiving. Keep building and creating. Keep being the best version of yourself that you can be. For the world needs more heroes like Samuel Price, more everyday champions of compassion and grace, of strength and resilience in the face of life's challenges. And together, we can build a future that is worthy of our highest aspirations and our deepest dreams, a world where love and kindness reign supreme, and where every heart is free to sing its own unique song. So let us go forth with joy and with purpose, with the knowledge that we are all part of something greater than ourselves, a tapestry of stories and experiences that stretches across the ages and around the globe. For the best is yet to come, and the journey ahead is full of wonder and possibility, a chance to make our mark on the world and leave it a little better than we found it. And as long as we hold fast to the values of love and compassion, of forgiveness and grace, then I know that there is nothing we cannot achieve, no dream that we cannot make real, no life that we cannot touch and transform. So let us go forth with courage and with faith, with the strength and the wisdom of those who have gone before us. For the road ahead is long, but the rewards are great, and the destination is worth every step, every sacrifice, every moment of pain and struggle and triumph. And together, hand in hand, heart to heart, we will find our way home, to the place where we truly belong, the place where love and laughter and joy reign supreme, now and forevermore. Thank you, and may the light of love guide you always, in all that you do and in all that you are.